How's it going, everyone? It's Mindcardy. I just wanted to make this channel to read some confessions or some stories that may be interesting to help everyone relax, study, fall asleep, whatever floats your boat. This world that I'm playing in, it's about 6 months old. I've been playing it with my friends for the most part that I know in real life. Um, Everyone hops on whenever they can. We have some pretty cool builds in the world that I'm sure you'll be seeing over the next couple of videos. So excited to share all that with everyone. Today, I really want some copper, and so I want to go mining. The new update came out with the copper golems, and it actually seems pretty cool. So I definitely want to get a bunch of that just to make sure that, yeah, well, all the new blocks and all the new cool stuff that's coming out I'm able to use, because just as a confession for myself, I have been skipping over copper for quite some times whenever I'm in the mines. Just hasn't really been of use until now. So uh, besides that, I hope everyone enjoys the video, and I can get straight into the first confession. This one is called "I've been lying to my parents for 3 years about going to college." I've been lying to my parents for 3 years, saying that I'm doing the whole online community college thing. Once I graduated from high school, I really wanted to find a job, but my mom told me, no, you need to go and do college. So I applied and did the whole process, chose my classes, and waited until it started. Once my classes started, for some reason, I just didn't go to them, and I really don't know why. This continued for 3 years. And you want to know what I was doing for all those years? Absolutely nothing. I was just being a failure of a son, waking up every day, just doing nothing, while my parents worked really hard. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because I'm going to tell my mom early tomorrow, and I guess today, since it just hit 12, I feel like a huge failure and afraid of knowing that there's a chance of me getting kicked out of the house and not a chance of making this right. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I just need to get this off my chest. Thank you for reading. That's a really interesting post. I have gone to college myself, and I've graduated with 2 degrees and a minor. I will say that, college isn't for everyone, but if you have the opportunity, I would recommend you at least go and try, at least for one semester, and see if it's for you. It sounds like this guy, he didn't even go to a single class, or maybe he's only been to one. I don't think he really gave it a fair shot. So I would have recommended to him to at least stick it out for one semester just to see if it could have worked out for him. Now, the real kicker is he has lied to his parents about going to school for 3 years. I'm assuming he's also living under their roof because he has not done anything and has basically just been a bum. I do kind of feel bad for his parents at that point, especially if they're paying for his college and paying for his living situation. He is kind of an adult now. I would have felt like it would have been more justified if he at least got a job, and he even recognizes that his parents are working hard. But he isn't, and he just feels very guilty about that. So I would have totally at least tried to get a job if I was in a situation, if I wasn't going to school. Just being a productive member in society in some sort of shape or fashion. But my advice to him is to, come clean now and kind of prepare for the worst about getting kicked out. Because if I would have pulled that with my parents, rightfully so, would have been kicked out. I also probably would go and get a job now before you tell your parents. Show them that you're, working hard, looking to turn your life around, and you don't have to necessarily pay them for some of the inconveniences you cause, but you are an adult who has been living rent-free in their house, and I'm assuming also paying for tuition as well. So if they paid for any of that for you, I would have reimbursed them 100%. But yeah, that's my opinion of the situation. I want to know what you guys think, and if you guys have been to college or not. All right, this next confession is titled "Stole from Work and Used Boss's Credit Card to Better Myself." I'm really interested to see what this one might say. So, in the early 90s, I worked as a junior admin at a very large financial firm. I was taking night classes at some community college and really was strapped for cash and because I wasn't paid well. The great thing about my job is I got to eat food for free because the bosses always had bagels and sandwiches brought in, and it was my job to pick up the food. I used the company funds to buy groceries for myself and stocked up my fridge in my apartment. I also bought my school books and used my boss's credit card to buy clothes when he asked me to buy something for his wife. I bought winter coats, gloves, warm boots, etc. I couldn't have survived without the stealing. For the whole time I worked at that job, I was able to pay for school, pay my rent, save a little, because my food, clothing, transportation needs were met from the stealing. They never caught on because I was the most overlooked person in the office. I was like a little mouse, nobody noticed. Later, when I graduated and moved up in the world, I always helped the admins wherever I worked. I'd let them leave early if they had kids, or ask them to order extra food for themselves whenever we had office lunches, etc. I let them make copies on the office copier if they needed it for school or their kids' school. I let them take pencils, papers, staplers, etc. for their kids' school supplies. I was known as the nice lady boss. I encouraged a couple of them to enroll in night school and better themselves. I feel no guilt whatsoever. I stole thousands of dollars to make my life better, and I helped many people in return. This one is a little bit of a sticky situation. Of course, I really don't condone stealing whatsoever, and morally, what this lady did was wrong by using the credit card for her own personal gain. Um, I understand the situation that she was in. It really helped pay for her night classes, her books, her food, etc. But I really just don't think that it's correct for her to have done that. Again, we don't really know all the details and if she really did need to steal or not, which it sounded like she did for the situation that she's in, but it didn't seem like it was necessarily 100% desperate. It didn't really sound like she was making sacrifices herself before justifying the stealing. So I don't think that's correct. I do really like how she now goes to people in her position or her old position and tries to help them any way that they can by, letting them use office supplies and having them order extra food and whatnot. Um, when it comes to office lunches, I do think whoever's picking up the food, especially if it is your employee, should probably get fed too. I think it's a little rude for you not to feed them. That's just my opinion. So I'm glad she's doing that, and I didn't really know that some companies didn't do that. But when it comes to like paper, pencils, staplers, and stuff, if it's her company, I really don't see a problem with it whatsoever. But I mean, if especially if it's maybe a smaller family-owned business, a mom and pop shop, you're essentially stealing from them as well. Um, I don't know. I kind of feel morally gray about this one. Um, I understand why she did her actions, but I'm not saying that I condone it in any sort of way. All right, this next confession is a little bit of a juicy one. It has some naughty words in it, so I'm gonna try to avoid them or use other words, but I hope you guys can understand what I'm trying to say. All right, this one is titled Two Friends in Our Group Are Making Love and They Always Lie About It. We're a group of five, me and my husband, my friend A, who's my coworker, my friend B, who is roommates with my coworker, and my friend C, who has known A and B since childhood. All of them are coworkers with my husband. and lots of interconnections, and we're all super close with each other. Basically, B and C are hooking up and constantly lie to us about it, and we all pretend not to know. We've never planned to confront them on it either, regardless if they're dating or just casually sleeping together. We just think it's funny how obvious they are. One of the top comments says this is a plot of a Friends episode. They know, we know. I think it's funny because there's been quite a few times in my life where a friend group that I'm a part of has a very similar situation happen where people might end up hooking up with each other, and then try to hide it from, the rest of the friend group. My opinion on this is, it's really just their business. I just let them be them. I wouldn't really look too much further into it. If they wanted to tell you, I think it's their business to tell, but they might think that they're being slick and trying to get away with it. But I mean, if you ever look at those hints from the outside, everyone knows that they're sleeping with each other. I think this is a little lighthearted, funny confession. I think it's good that you're not gonna confront them about it. It's just gonna make it awkward and make their dynamic a little weird against the group. Maybe they'll start trying to. I have a feeling they might start drifting away from the friend group if you question them about it. So let them have their fun. Most likely, if they're just secretly dating and whatnot, if they break up, it's gonna tear a hole in the friend group, and that's never fun. But I wish everyone the best in this situation. And again, yeah, definitely don't tell them. All right. This next confession is titled, I looked through a girl's belongings without her consent. I'm a girl. I basically used to like this girl. She used to bully me for months before the crush started. I think I hated her so much, I started to have a crush on her. When the bullying stopped, I gained feelings slowly. It made me feel special getting noticed by her. She used to bully me every day and shame me in front of people. I have no idea where these feelings came from. Maybe because she was pretty, or it was my brain's reaction to the abuse that I have endured from her. Months pass, the crush comes back again, but harder. I can't stop looking at her, listening to what she says. We start becoming friends, and I completely lost it. I had the idea to look through her stuff, her backpack, to see if she wrote anything about me or to know something about her. I did this 2 or 3 times. I don't know what was going through my mind back then. I didn't even feel guilty until now, realizing what I did. I know people have done worse, but that doesn't excuse what I did. What she did to me was messed up. Why did I start liking her? When I was reading this, I was kind of looking at the comments as well, and I saw that one of the comments pointed out Stockholm Syndrome. That's a very interesting psychological phenomenon where the abused person starts to develop a bond with their abuser. I think this is also kind of a thing in like toxic relationships where one side is extremely abusive to the other, and it kind of makes their bond stronger in a way, even though they're terrible for each other. But I mean, regardless of that fact, it's terrible that she was making you feel insignificant and embarrassed in front of other people. That's probably one of the worst types of bullying out there, just because it makes you feel very alone. What she did was not right at all for making you feel insignificant around other people and humiliating you in front of other people. And that really sucks that happened, and I hope you can recover well from that. But I don't think it's very good for you to snoop through her backpack either. I do understand that sometimes feelings and emotions can make us do very irrational things. But it's good that you realize what you did was wrong, and you're trying to look at that from a different perspective on why you did that. I mean, it could be a multiple number of reasons why you snooped through her backpack. Um, it could be the actual crush itself, like you mentioned before. You really just want to learn something else about her. You wanted to see if maybe she wrote, if she had a diary or something and wrote about you. So that's completely understandable. Maybe it was also your subconscious as well, trying to get back at the abuser. Maybe you found some money in there or something. You would have stolen it. Um, Again, I'm not accusing you of anything, saying that you're going to do that, but it's weird the way our brain works. And, you know, why did you develop feelings for somebody who is doing you only harm? And then why you would even go through your old bullies slash new friends backpack, because both of those are, breaking different types of boundaries. So interesting post and confession for sure. I'd love to see if you actually did confess to her, how you felt, like how that would have ended up. All right, and then this one's probably going to be the last one of the day. Only going to do a couple just because I really wanted to just try this, whole video thing out, making videos and whatnot. But I think this is the best for last. It's definitely the most interesting one. And yeah, can't wait to share it. So this one is called When I Was 16, I robbed several bank ATMs and somehow was never caught. I'm in my 50s now, so I'm probably not going to get arrested for this, but I still don't know how this never caught up with me. In the early 80s, ATMs had a feature called Deposit with Cashback. It was a check cashing feature. For some reason, it ran over the honor system. Of course, this feature went away eventually, but I figured out if I just put in an empty envelope to the ATM and I didn't seal it, I could claim that the bank lost it. So the ATM would cash the check, then a week later, the bank was like, oh, that envelope was empty, and for whatever reason, Bay Bank just let me get away with that. That summer, my family stayed in a cottage in Massachusetts for 2 weeks. During that time, I opened up a savings account with 5 different banks using the rented home's address. They mailed me ATM cards within a few days. I deposited with said cash back on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, and early Monday. Back then, the limit was $400, and they were going to check the ATMs Monday, so the scam would be over. I scored over $10,000 in 1984. No one ever came looking for it. I was never questioned or arrested. I don't understand why or how. The only thing that happened was the FDIC had me on a list of people whose bank shouldn't do business with. I didn't even find out about that until I was 21, 5 years after the crime. I was in college and tried to open a bank account, and no one would let me. 40 years later, I have a bank account, and nothing ever happened. It was the only time in my life that I had good luck. Of course, I blew the money, and back then, it was enough to put down on a house or easily bought a car. I spent it on girls, weed, and beer. It was fun, but I wish I was smarter. Wow. Yeah. That's an interesting post. It's pretty clear that the poster, I don't think he regrets what he did, but he understands that what he did was very wrong. Um, $10,000 in 1984 is a lot of money. So $10,000 back in 1984 is worth $31,000 today. That's a lot of money. Even $10,000 today is a lot of money. What he did obviously was not morally right by any means. He says that he was never caught, but he did face some repercussions in his early 20s, being put on that list where he couldn't open a bank account. I don't think that punishment was hard enough, to be honest, but and I think he was caught. If he was put on that list, he probably just didn't commit enough crime for it to be worth the banks to actually punish him for it. So that's probably why he was put on that list, because there's no reason for him to be randomly put on that list if they didn't know. This also kind of reminds me of like the Chase Bank glitch that people were doing back in, like, I don't know, what was that, like early 2024, where they would just deposit a fake check and get the money out, and now all these people are going to jail getting arrested for it. I think the moral of the story is don't mess with the banks, because they will get their money back. It's really not worth to do any sort of fraud, especially in today's day and age. Everything requires an ID. Everything you do online is tracked. You're gonna get caught if you try to pull something off like this. I love how he also regrets that he didn't spend the money wisely, that he just blew it on some drugs and some alcohol and some girls. To be honest, I can't blame him. You know, whenever 16-year-olds aren't the smartest people, about the dumbest people you will ever meet in your life are teenage boys, coming from a former one. Most of the decisions that we make back then in our teenage years just aren't very smart or thought out. He could have really set himself up very successfully investing that money back then as well, but yeah, I mean, to each their own. Hope he had a good couple of years with the money, but again, what he did wasn't, that right, and yeah, I'm not saying I condone it anyway. Regardless, I think this is where I'm going to end the video now. I hope it's long enough to, help you guys get in a flow state if you're studying, or if you have this pulled up on your phone in bed. Hopefully you're asleep by now, so I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I definitely plan to show the world off some more in a couple of future videos, so yeah, thanks a lot. I hope you subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you want to stick around and see more, just let me know.